Ang sa'yo magtatanong. Johanna Poblete.
Good afternoon, sir. Yesterday, Secretary Paje and Mr. Carandang both confirmed that the environment and the economic clusters have submitted the policy statement on mining to you. Do you approve of this statement? Do we have a 50-50 revenue sharing in mining now?
What they presented was in fact, para policy statement. This will be vetted or passed through the various stakeholders. They asked for permission to go through a series of consultations with all of the stakeholders before adopting this final draft. So it's not yet finished. They still have to discuss with the various entities that are very much concerned with the mining in our country. So that includes the ecological groups, the mining groups, the local government units, and so on and so forth. So it's still not a finished policy. It's still a work in progress.
So we were told, sir, that it only needs your approval, but you're saying that...
I'll show you the document if you want it. They asked for permission to have the consultations with stakeholders.
Sir,
but I didn't bring it with me right now because I didn't know you'd ask it from me.
If I may ask, sir, do the 78 mining sites still, are they still contained?
No, 78 tourist sites.
Ecotourism sites, sir. Are they still, is mining still banned in these sites?
That is the proposal, to preserve them as ecotourism sites. No? The document that was shown to me yesterday did not contain the list of the 78 sites.
All right, sir. Sir, you're going to Cambodia. Will there be a business delegation going with you?
Let me check. On the plane going there, it will just be the official delegation. It's a small plane. We will be discussing with our ASEAN brethren various concerns, amongst them the global climate change that is already affecting all of us. In our consortium nautical highway and other matters for discussion. Perhaps even the schedule for the ASEAN weeks is also one of our proposals. We have to meet twice a year and 4 times a year for our ministers, which takes up quite a bit of time. It's amongst the proposals.
Sir, somebody else will be asking about that. On the mining issue, when can we find the finished draft, do you believe? When
I was excited as you are to see the finished draft. But the proposal yesterday was permission to engage the various stakeholders in the fine points of what has been discussed by the economic cluster.
So a few more months, sir?
Hindi naman dapat months.
Okay, last 2 questions. Christine. Second.
Sir, dyan sa emergency powers, yung proposal, will you accept it? Do you need emergency power to deal with the power crisis in Mindanao?
At this time, I'm not sure if emergency powers are what are needed. For instance, no, clear that from the time that we got into office, there was already a shortage. You have a lot of the infrastructure, the power infrastructure in Mindanao that is very, very old. No? So, I really wonder where some people said I criticized the Secretary of Energy when both of us were not yet born, when we were discussing, when they installed the plant that is the subject of the repair. Okay, yung repair of Agos 6 will take 30 months. Setting up a coal-fired plant, which is the fastest, will take about 2 to 3 years. Okay. Part of the process, you have to get yung local government authority to set up the plant. The environmental compliance, yung public dialogues. Na-delay yung construction of the coal-fired plants. Primarily because it took the 2 firms that are setting them up in Mindanao close to a year or over a year to secure the necessary permits. So we are trying to expedite the process, at the same time taking into consideration the concerns of the residents that will be affected. But there is a need for power, and power has to come from somewhere. And if the global climate change is already shifting the rain patterns, hydro as a very clean source might not be left in the same amounts that we rely upon, because the rain is shifting elsewhere. So there has to be alternative sources of power generation. So it will take, again, the problem, let me try yung Agos just to illustrate. Agos Unit 6, Agos 6 Units 1 and 2, installed in 1953 and 1956, 30-year lifespan. So for the second one, it should have been 1986. From that time up to our time, nobody took care of it. We are taking care of it now, but it will take 30 months to put it back up and increase the generating capacity.
So you don't need any extra power to deal with the crisis?
So far, no. But of course, yung mga unnecessary delays that we think that happened, for instance, yung 1 year that it took for all of the permits to be secured could have been 1 year already in construction, and it would have brought us closer by 1 year or 1 year to go na lang to have the added generating capacities of these two coal-powered plants that unfortunately have yet to be constructed because of the delay in securing all of the necessary clearances.
So instead of that, yung extra power, you have a summit, di ba, in Davao. So that will suffice, sir, if ever. Meeting with the stakeholders.
The biggest issue there is basically, so we are all talking from the same page. We understand the problem, and therefore the solutions are very clear-cut and logical. But there is at the present time a lot of speculation, a lot of false information, a lot of parang efforts to cause greater uncertainty amongst the people of Mindanao, which we will try to correct by the time the summit is conducted.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Huling tanong, Rema.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. This is in regarding dun sa satellite launch of North Korea. So, are you going to raise this up on the upcoming ASEAN Summit in Phnom Penh next week?
That's probable. But the Vice President on our behalf has already, during the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Summit in Korea, has already voiced our opposition to the launch. Just on basics, you launch a missile, it winds up in territory that does not belong to you. By what right do you have to actually, in effect, invade another country's sovereign territory? They have a lot of problems, and a lot of countries are ready and willing and able to help them out. So all of the resources devoted to this could have been devoted to solving issues like sufficiency of food for their people. And if they turn in that direction, I think the Philippines and other countries are more than willing to share whatever expertise and resources we do have so that we all prosper, instead of diverting our attention to issues like this that pose unnecessary risks for all concerned.
So, by raising this up, sir, do you think that this will send a strong message to North Korea?
I think you and I are both students of how North Korea responds to world opinion. That's why they have been labeled the pariah state. Yung sa Tagalog siguro, don't care, di ba? Deadma. Pero hihinto ho ba tayo na hindi natin pagtatagol yung ating karapatan ulit? Papali pa rin nila ito, babaksak sa hindi na teritoryo, tayong sasapo, potential na tayo sumapo, na hindi ba tayo makapaghanda dahil hindi tayo sigurado na kung saan lang padadala, doon talaga pupunta. May issues doon sa guidance technology. Pag inutusan nila yung missile nila pupunta dito sa lugar na to, pupunta ba doon? Hindi po tiyak yan. So lahat ng mga eksperto, hinihintay na kung ilo-launch sila, doon pala magmumula yung calculation kung saan bababaksak to. So ulit hindi lang sa parang pinasukan nila teritoryo ng ibang bansa, magpapadala po sila na hindi siguradong guided, na baka maging unguided. So yung imbis na pagkalagaan mo isang particular na lugar, kailangan mo pagkalagaan napakaraming lugar. Yung buong distance o yung arc na pwedeng i-travel itong missile na ito. At ulit, yung ba naman ang dapat ipakita sa kapwa mga bansa? Hindi yata, ulit, tatawag nga silang pariah state. Sayang ang pagkakataon.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Thank you, media.